Everyone wants to be successful until success becomes the reason they fail. Kira was Japan's next football prodigy. He had the talent, the spotlight, and the future in his hands. Yet in Blue Lock, he was the very first to be eliminated. How does someone with everything lose everything? It wasn't bad luck. It wasn't a mistake. It was something far more dangerous. Something that destroys more people than failure ever could. And by the end of this, you'll understand why Kira fell and why it could happen to anyone, including you. Blue Lock's philosophy is built on the belief that Japan's soccer culture has failed internationally because it emphasizes teamwork, humility, and structure over individual brilliance. Traditional Japanese soccer prioritizes harmony and collective effort, fostering players who excel in technical skills and discipline. These players are trained to fit into a system where their roles are predefined and their success depends on maintaining structure. Strikers in particular are molded to expect that their teammates, especially midfielders, will create opportunities for them to score, reducing the need for strikers to take responsibility for their own success. This philosophy creates a predictable, stable approach to soccer, but stifles the development of players who can thrive in chaotic and high-pressure environments. By contrast, Blue Lock seeks to break this mode entirely. It emphasizes individualism, selfishness, and unpredictability, traits required to produce a world-class striker who can dominate without relying on a system. Kira embodies the traditional approach, excelling within structure, but failing to adapt to the raw, survival-driven mentality demanded by Blue Lock. His elimination highlights the incompatibility between Japan's safe, collective philosophy and the egocentric vision Blue Lock aims to create. Kira's failure is rooted in three critical psychological weaknesses: complacency, resistance to chaos, and fear of selfishness. As a recognized talent, Kira was already celebrated as a striker in Japan, and this prior success bred complacency. He believed his status and skill would naturally secure his survival, making him unprepared to reinvent himself under pressure. Instead of adapting, Kira relied on his polished techniques and past achievements, failing to see that Blue Lock required a complete mental reset to survive. Beyond complacency, Kira struggled with resistance to chaos. He questioned the fairness of Blue Lock's rules, clinging to the idea that soccer should operate within a structured framework. This mindset paralyzed him, preventing him from embracing the unpredictability and ruthless competition demanded by the environment. Finally, Kira's fear of selfishness sealed his fate. He viewed ego as destructive and hesitated to act decisively, which exposed his lack of killer instinct, a fatal flaw in a system designed to reward strikers who crave goals above all else. The deeper issue behind Kira's weaknesses lies in the cultural and structural philosophy that shapes Japanese soccer. Japan's soccer system emphasizes collective harmony, order, and fixed positional roles. Players are trained to focus on team success over personal dominance, fostering habits of passing, cooperation, and predictability. This approach creates players who are technically skilled but mentally dependent on the system to function effectively. Strikers in Japanese soccer are conditioned to rely heavily on midfielders, who act as the workhorses of the team. Midfielders are expected to handle most of the creative and defensive workload, ensuring the striker receives the ball in ideal conditions to score. This dynamic allows strikers to focus solely on finishing plays, often leading to mental complacency and a lack of urgency to create opportunities themselves. Kira, as a product of this system, embodied this flaw perfectly. He expected opportunities to be given to him rather than seizing them through raw instinct and ambition. This structured philosophy works in sports like baseball, where positions and roles are fixed and success depends on precision and predictability. Japan's excellence in baseball highlights how its cultural values align with sports that prioritize structure. However, soccer demands adaptability and chaos management, traits Japan's system fails to cultivate. Igor Jinpachi's critique centers on this mismatch, arguing that Japan produces mediocre elites, players who look impressive within structure but collapse under pressure in unpredictable situations. Kira represents this failure as the crown jewel of Japan's soccer ideals, a player who is polished, skilled, and revered, but ultimately incapable of rising above structure to dominate individually. His elimination symbolizes the rejection of Japan's outdated soccer philosophy and the need for players who can survive and thrive in chaos. Kira's elimination wasn't just his failure, it was a turning point for Yoichi, the protagonist. Yoichi's decision to eliminate Kira marked his acceptance of Blue Lock's philosophy, prioritizing ego over morality and personal survival over fairness. In choosing to target Kira, Yoichi abandoned the idea of relying on systems and teamwork, instead embracing the selfish mentality required to succeed in Blue Lock. This moment also positioned Kira as a sacrificial symbol, the death of the old order and the birth of a new philosophy. His elimination was a warning to every other player: evolve or be eliminated. It forced Yoichi to face the reality that success in Blue Lock requires destroying not only opponents, but also one's own preconceptions about Saka and morality. Kira wasn't eliminated because he lacked skill, he was eliminated because he couldn't evolve. He resisted the mental and emotional transformation Blue Lock required, clinging to outdated ideals instead of embracing the chaotic, ego-driven philosophy needed to dominate as a striker. His failure demonstrates the limitations of Japan's current soccer philosophy and underscores the need for a radical mental shift to create a truly world-class striker. Kira's elimination proves three critical lessons. Talent without ego is useless. Raw skill means nothing without the hunger to dominate. Adaptation is survival. Players must evolve under pressure or face extinction. Finally, ego is power. Success demands selfishness, ambition, and the ability to put yourself above others.